damage in affected areas. Before Chuseok, the government is rolling out measures to curb inflation. They include releasing more food items from its reserves. The South Korean government reiterated that will never be up for negotiation. The top office vows to normalize operation of the existing U.S.-owned and operated system later this month. Hello and welcome to our newscast. I'm Daniel Che. Let's begin with our top story. Substantial damage reported in Chungcheongdo and Jeollabuk-do provinces as the rain moves south from the capital. Restoration and recovery work is underway nationwide. Shin Ha-young starts us off.
Even though all the heavy rain alerts were lifted as of 7 p.m. Korean time, more damage is being reported as time passes. According to the Chungcheongbuk-do Province Disaster and Safety Management Office on Thursday, there have been a total 233 incidents reported. 32 homes and buildings are flooded and 18 cars are submerged. The situation in Jeollabuk-do Province isn't much different, where at one point 70 millimeters of rain fell per hour. About 20 roads are blocked while homes and buildings are flooded. But there's more to come. The National Institute of Forest Science forecasts that there will be up to 200 millimeters of rain in Chungcheongdo, Jeollabuk-do, and Gyeongsangbuk-do provinces until Friday. Meanwhile, as of Thursday, the death toll from this adverse weather has reached 12 in Seoul, Gyeonggi-do, and Gangwon-do provinces, with 7 still missing. Nationwide, almost 6,000 people have been displaced from their homes and forced to seek temporary shelter. The city of Seoul announced Thursday that it will support its autonomous districts with disaster management funds to help repair flood damage. The city also reports that most of the roads that were damaged have been repaired. The same day, the country's Prime Minister Han Duk-soo held a meeting with relevant authorities to check the progress being made. There, officials reported that about 92% of what was seen as needing urgent repair has been dealt with. The government will also support the military, who are carrying out much of the recovery work by deploying more troops and equipment, while the Korea Forest Service has promised to provide 13 helicopters to help with rescue efforts and to deliver relief supplies. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
The nation's daily COVID-19 tally exceeded 137,000. The KDisplay warned the virus is spreading rapidly and people are getting reinfected in a shorter period of time. In June, reinfection was happening at an average interval of 7 months, but by July it was 5 months. Around half of such cases are among people younger than 17 and the unvaccinated. Authorities expect the daily virus tally to soon reach 200,000. They promise to strengthen quarantine measures, especially for places like nursing homes. 59 more COVID-19 related deaths reported. The number of severe cases, 418. During a major meeting, North Korea's leader declared victory over COVID-19, saying the regime reported 0 cases in the past few weeks, a claim that's considered highly doubtful. His sister also spoke at the session and blamed South Korea for causing the virus to cross the border. Han Sung-woo shares with us their remarks.
3 months after admitting his regime had an outbreak, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has declared victory against COVID-19.
On behalf of the party's Central Committee and the government of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, I solemnly declare victory in the maximum emergency anti-epidemic campaign to exterminate the novel coronavirus that had made inroads into our territory and in protecting the lives and health of the people.
According to the Korean Central News Agency, Kim also announced at a mass meeting on antivirus measures Wednesday that the regime would lower its so-called maximum virus prevention system back to a normal level, but cautioned against complacency, saying that the global health crisis is still ongoing in neighboring countries and that it's too early to completely lift curbs, including border lockdowns. In a surprise move, his sister Kim Yo-jong also spoke during the meeting and blamed the spread of the virus in the north on alien objects and anti-Pyongyang leaflets flown in on balloons from activists in South Korea. Calling them crimes against humanity, she warned of intense retaliations.
If the enemy persists with such dangerous deeds like providing inroads for the virus into our republic, we'll respond to it by not only exterminating the virus, but also wiping out the South Korean authorities.
South Korea's defense ministry responded to Kim's words by saying it will keep an eye out for various possibilities, while the unification ministry expressed deep regret.
We express deep regret over the very rude, threatening remarks made by the North and its unreasonable assertions regarding how the virus entered the regime.
Kim Yo-jong also mentioned her brother had suffered from fever symptoms, saying that even though the leader was seriously ill with a high fever, he could not lie down for a moment because of the people he had to take care of, suggesting the leader may have been infected with the virus at one point. This was the first time a speech made by Kim Yo-jong on an official platform had been made public on state media. Pyongyang's declaration of victory comes amid an extremely low fatality rate of 74 reported deaths, despite no known vaccine rollout, leading observers to widely question its validity. Han-Seongju, Arirang News.
The South Korean government reiterated its position on THAAD, emphasizing it will never be up for negotiation. The presidential office plans to normalize the operation of the existing U.S. missile defense system. Bae Eun-ji fills us in.
South Korea's presidential office said Thursday that the U.S. defense system THAAD is not up for negotiation and that the unit in Seongju will be able to operate normally starting late this month. President Yoon has vowed stronger security cooperation with the U.S. and aims to acquire more THAAD batteries to counter growing North Korean missile threats. The announcement comes a day after China insisted that Seoul had publicly committed to a policy of what's called 3 no's and 1 limit.
The U.S.'s deployment of THAAD in South Korea clearly undermines China's strategic security interests. China has expressed its concerns to Korea on multiple occasions, and the South Korean government has accordingly made public its commitments to the 3 no's 1 limit policy. China attaches importance to this position.
The 3 no's were carried out by South Korea's previous Moon Jae-in administration to repair relations with China. It says no to deploying additional THAAD anti-missile system in Korea, no to participating in the U.S.-led missile defense network, and no to taking part in the trilateral military alliance with the U.S. and Japan. And the 1 limit policy that China brought up refers to a pledge to limit the operations of the THAAD battery already in place. But this is something that Seoul has never publicly acknowledged. In response, Seoul's Foreign and Defense Ministries expressed discontent, saying South Korea isn't willing to negotiate THAAD with Beijing, and that the 3 no's were never a formal agreement nor a promise.
Our government's stance remains that THAAD can never be subject to negotiation, as it's a matter of national security.
Speaking to reporters on Thursday, Seoul's Defense Minister Lee Jong-seop noted there will be no changes to the operations of THAAD because of China's disapproval. He added that the government is working to speed up this process, including the environmental impact assessment of the anti-missile system. Bae Eun-ji, Arirang News.
The government plans to put large amount of various food items on the market to bring down prices. There will also be coupons offering huge discounts. Various changes are made to help with travel arrangements as well. Shin Se-byuk zooms in on the measures to help citizens better prepare for and celebrate Chuseok.
Amid runaway inflation, South Korea is going all out to stabilize livelihoods ahead of the Chuseok holiday. Following an emergency economy meeting presided over by President Yoon on Thursday, the senior presidential secretary for economic affairs said the government will minimize any difficulties that the people are facing. The country has been hit hard by the record heavy downpours this week, which are widely expected to have even more of a negative impact on the 24-year high consumer prices.
From finance to tax, we will take all possible measures to settle the instability in the nation in a swift manner before the Chuseok holidays.
To fight skyrocketing inflation, the government plans to reduce the prices of 20 key Chuseok food items such as onions and cabbages to their levels from a year ago. As of the end of July, radish prices jumped the most by 43% on year. Cabbages and potatoes followed at almost 34%. For 3 weeks from August 18th, almost 6,000 tons of cabbages, 14,000 tons of apples, and over 61,000 tons of pork will be released from government reserves. In total, a record total of 230,000 tons of farm, livestock, and fisheries products will be supplied. In order to boost consumption, plans are also in place to hold nationwide sales promotions. One is to distribute an all-time high of nearly $40 million worth of coupons, which will offer 20 to 30% discount on average and can be used at supermarkets and local traditional markets. The government is also set to hold a week-long sales event during the first 7 days of September, where over 6,000 firms and merchants will take part. Another key measure includes support for the financially vulnerable people. The government will provide a record $33 billion worth of fresh funds to small firms and merchants to help them meet cash demand. To ease the burden of living costs for low-income households, South Korea will hand out a second round of emergency living subsidies to some 50,000 households that were not included the first time around. As for the damage caused by this week's record heavy rain, the government has vowed to review the damage and provide swift recovery efforts. Meanwhile, with mass travel expected for the upcoming Chuseok holidays, the government will roll out a special transportation package early next month. This will include measures to expand the number of flights, buses, and trains, as well as possible exemption on highway tolls. 신새벽, Arirang News.
President Yoon ordered the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries to develop the marine biology sector as a national strategic industry. This came after the ministry reported its 4 strategies, which includes establishing sustainable fisheries and marine logistics. It also briefed on plans to foster a new marine economy as well as ways to create safe coastlines. According to a presidential spokesperson, Yoon asked the ministry to develop fishing villages using smart farming tech. The president also highlighted the need for greater efforts to stabilize prices of fisheries products. Samsung Electronics takes another step towards in the race of perfecting folding smartphones. South Korean tech giant unveiled the 4th generation Galaxy Z Flip and Galaxy Z Fold. They're slimmer, lighter, and in the same price range as the last models. Jong provides a glimpse of what to expect.
The most durable and most powerful Galaxy foldables yet. This is how Samsung Electronics described its latest 4th generation Galaxy folding smartphones at its annual Unpacked event on Thursday, wooing buyers from around the world. A representative says its new offerings will push foldables from their current position in a niche part of the smartphone market to being a mainstream hit.
Last year alone, almost 10 million people opened a foldable. Market growth has tripled. Just 3 years ago, this category did not even exist. Now we are leading it into the mainstream.
Users of the latest Galaxy Z Flip 4, a small square that opens up like a shell to reveal a 6.7-inch screen, will be able to make calls and reply to text without needing to open the phone. It also brings higher quality photos and videos with upgraded cameras and a sensor that is 65% more effective than its predecessor. On top of that, it comes with a bigger battery and super fast charging. 50% charge takes just 30 minutes, and the device has become even slimmer.
It has more solid modeling, a smaller hinge, and bolder camera housing compared to previous models. And it has an aesthetic contrast between the matte back glass and the glossier metal frame, which makes it especially stylish.
Another highlight of the Unpacked event, the new Galaxy Z Fold 4, a tablet-like smartphone that opens like a book, which is also lighter and has a slimmer hinge. It comes with a 45% more durable main display, upgraded cameras both front and back.
Underneath this immersive display, we're bringing you an improved under-display camera with advanced image processing technology. This camera comes inside a phone that offers more flexibility, an enhanced multitasking experience, and an absolutely amazing screen.
With all these new features and despite soaring costs of production and shipping, Samsung has managed to keep prices at the same levels as last year. Retail prices start at $999 for the Galaxy Z Flip 4 and $1,799 for the Galaxy Z Fold 4. But an expert says other competitors are also coming into the foldable market.
Xiaomi and Motorola, these Chinese companies, also unpacked foldable phones this week. But until now, they were not successful in the global market. But I can say that foldable phones are becoming popular, and so they will come to the better. I think it's good news for Samsung because Samsung is still dominating the market now, so it's more important to increase the market size with competing companies right now.
엄지영, Arirang News.
South Korea is holding its largest exhibition on digital displays. It brings together the latest in related tech from more than 100 companies, including giants like LG and Samsung. Kim Yo-jong gets us better acquainted with KDisplay 2022.
Visitors got a glimpse of South Korea's latest display technologies at KDisplay 2022. This massive 97-inch OLED EX is the biggest OLED TV panel that LG Display has ever made. The gigantic display not only delivers realistic colors and fine details, but also enhances brightness by up to 30%. Among its many other special features is the sound. The TV has embedded film cinematic sound OLED technology, which allows it to generate sounds directly off the display without separate speakers. LG Display is also highlighting its transparent panels, which can be used very effectively in our daily lives. These transparent OLED panels are embedded in this glass wall, and they can be used to replace clunky monitors in conference rooms. There are other transparent OLED displays that can be used in stores, such as this one. It simultaneously displays products with necessary information or visuals to maximize the impact of advertisements.
LG Display is demonstrating its cutting-edge OLED technologies under the slogan of a city inspired by OLED. Displays are not just for TVs. They can be used in our daily lives. They can be used in stores, artworks, subways, and more.
South Korea's other key player, Samsung Display, has also introduced next-generation technologies. These devices are made with displays that can be folded not just once, but twice.
The good thing is that it's compact because you can fold it twice. You can also enjoy a larger screen when you fully unfold it.
The company also unveiled its latest quantum dot OLED TV for the first time in the country. These screens are better at portraying colors than regular OLEDs and are able to maintain the colors at any given angle. All these display technologies are being showcased until Friday at KDisplay 2022, the largest display exhibition in South Korea. Around 160 companies are participating in this year's event, attracting more than 10,000 visitors. The Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy said that it is crucial for South Korea to take the lead in the global display industry and added that it will invest more than $750 million to help achieve that goal. 최민정, Arirang News.
South Korea plans to establish the world's most advanced mobile network and cybersecurity system as part of achieving across-the-board digital innovation. That's according to the Ministry of Science and ICT and the Korean Culture and Information Service. In a Forum on Technological Innovation Policy, the ministry explained its plans for R&D in collaboration with the private sector. It aims to provide 5G service to the most rural areas by 2024 and launch a pilot 6G network in 2026. There will also be all-around support for research in various fields, including semiconductors, advanced material, and AI. As part of what's dubbed Super Gap R&D project, the country will focus on research areas that can produce tangible outcomes within 5 to 7 years. The nation's capital launched an inaugural summer festival. City officials hope it will take firm root as an annual event attracting locals and tourists alike. Seongju brings us the sights and sounds from this year's Seoul Festa.
Welcome to Seoul Festa 2022. Hosted by the Seoul city government, the festival, first launched this year, welcomes guests from all around the world for some summer fun. But on top of providing fun, the city had its sights on a bigger cause.
The tourism industry has been going through a tough time due to the COVID-19 pandemic, so we prepared Seoul Festa 2022 with the hope that this could not only boost the tourism industry, but Seoul City's economy as a whole.
And the first day was filled with eye-pleasing spectacles. First stop was the exhibition area, providing a sneak peek of what transportation in the future will look like. On display were a variety of personal air vehicles that could someday become a familiar sight on the city's skyline. There was also a VR zone where visitors could feel as if they were riding in one themselves. Seoul aims to commercialize an urban air mobility service which would allow passengers to take to the sky in these vehicles by 2025. But the highlight of the day was the evening's K-pop concert, Super K-pop Live. Around 40,000 fans from all around the world gathered at Jamsil Sports Complex to cheer for their favorite artists.
I was really disappointed when NCT Dream's last concert was canceled, so I'm really happy to finally see them today at Seoul Festa 2022.
I'm super excited. We haven't gotten to see them for quite a while between, COVID and touring and stuff like that, so I'm really excited to support the group.
So excited. This is all I've been looking forward to lately.
The 2-hour-long performance featured more than a dozen renowned singers or groups from different genres. Crossover vocal quartet Forestella was the first to take the stage. K-pop idol groups including LE SSERAFIM, NMIXX, Stray Kids, and NCT Dream followed. Singer and actor Rain, rappers Tiger JK and Yoon Mi-rae were also part of the lineup. Although it rained, the bad weather couldn't dampen the passion of the artists and the audience. But these are only part of the fun that Seoul Festa 2022 offers. From Wednesday to Sunday, a wide variety of activities will take place across the city. They include the Global Electric Car Race, the Formula E World Championship, the World DJ Festival, as well as shopping and leisure activities. Those interested can find more information on the Festa's official website. Seongju, Arirang News.
Korea celebrates National Liberation Day on August 15th. As the historic date approaches, the National Museum of Korean Contemporary History is displaying old newspapers that were censored by the Japanese government. Kim Yo-jong met with an artisan who played a key role in this project.
These harshly drawn red marks are traces of Imperial Japan on Korean paper. During the colonial rule from 1910 to 1945, freedom was scarce, and so was freedom of the press. So the Korean newspaper Chunghae-ilbo had to be censored. Anything that hinted of Korean independence, defended Korean activists, or shed a bad light on Imperial Japan was struck off by the Japanese government. But what Imperial Japan had tried to keep from the world is now openly displayed in the lobby of the National Museum of Korean Contemporary History.
Japanese tried to control the remembering the history. So it can say that it's important to remember the history of the colonial period at this Liberation Day of Korea.
Before going on display, these old newspapers first had to go through the hands of artisan Jong Chen-jong.
The paper from the Japanese rule is made out of pulp, so if it's old, it oxidizes and breaks down. So I tried to use minimal water and tried to fill in the cracks with traditional Korean paper. It was a very difficult process.
Jong Chen-jong is a master in the art of breathing new life into paintings and paper artifacts. He's honed his craft for over 40 years. And he's used his skills to revive Korean newspapers published during the Japanese rule. But even for him, this was a challenge because the papers were so brittle and fragile.
It took about 6 months for this project. There aren't just 1 or 2 pages, but 100 of them. And we had to pay deep care to every single one of them.
But despite the arduous process, he says that it's worth it, because the revived pieces will help remind generation after generation of the painful past Korea has been through and the cost the country had to pay to finally get its freedom back. Kim Yo-jong, Arirang News.
The
The stationary rain front that dumped torrential downpours on the capital has now moved to the south. The reason behind the sudden downpours is the cold air in the upper atmosphere clashing with the warm air on the ground. Also, the rise in water temperatures has pushed heavy water vapors into our peninsula. Until tomorrow, rain clouds will continue to drop heavy showers across the south. Jeollado province can expect up to 120 millimeters. Southern Chungcheongdo and northern Gyeongsangbuk-do provinces will see about 100 millimeters. For the capital region, where the rain front is now far away, only light showers of 5 millimeters are expected. Rain will linger across inland regions until the morning hours. Lows in Seoul will be starting off at 23 degrees. Daytime will get stuffy and hot after the rain. Seoul and Chuncheon will reach 31. Daegu and Gyeongju will be hot at 34 degrees. Central regions, including Seoul, will see heavy downpours again next week. The ground has gotten weaker from the continuous rain, so please take extra precautions. That's all for now, and here are the weather conditions around the world.
That's all from us. As always, thank you for watching.